They gave us a list of people that we could talk to today, and I said, I want Ocho Cinco.
Yeah.
That's what I said.
Appreciate it. I appreciate it.
I mean that.
Yes, sir.
We were talking about the Bengals
Yes.
and their wide receivers.
Yeah. The best in the league, Ed.
Best in the league.
Best in the league.
Why do you say that?
I mean, the combination, there are very few teams that I think that have two number one receivers. I think they have two number one receivers in Higgins and Chase. And in most other teams, maybe a few, there's always you have your number one, and then there's your number two, a definite number two. So if what I think is, let's say if Chase was to go out, Higgins can carry the spot as the number one receiver and always be a reliable target for Burrow. And I think vice versa for the two. So there are other few teams that are like that have some really, really good, what people call 1 and 2, but I think they're really 1 and 1s.
You still root for the Bengals?
Yeah, absolutely.
And have you spent time there last summer in Cincinnati? I ran into you there.
Yes.
Have you been there recently?
Yeah, I've been there once for training camp. I went to a training camp.
And what was your observation from watching them this summer, Chad?
I mean, they look good, but everybody looks good in shorts. Everybody looks good in shorts. Everybody looks good against each other. So I really don't make any assessments when I go watch teams at training camps. I just went to the Dolphin training camp the other day, the joint practice with the Commanders. And again, I don't really make any assessments because you know how it is. You're in shorts, you're in helmets. There's no pressure when you practice against each other, because if you get scored on, it's really not 6 points. So
let's bring up a topic, married together, two things that you know a lot about. You know a lot about receivers.
Yes.
And you know a lot about the business of football.
Yes, sir.
I want your assessment of the business of football with Jamarrchase and T. Higgins, and how you think these situations are going to play out.
Well, I think T's going to play obviously on the franchise tag this year. He'll be going somewhere else, and he'll get what's deserving of him, being paid like a number one receiver. And Jamar, I think.
Wait, so T, in your mind, after the season, leaves Cincinnati?
Yeah, most definitely. I don't think they'll be able to pay two receivers the amount of money. I mean, especially what he deserves. I don't see him being paid like a number two. And Jamar's deal will get done probably sometime this week. Oh, definitely before the season starts. Absolutely.
Wow.
Absolutely. Yeah.
He said definitely, Adam.
Definitely.
He said definitely before the season starts.
Definitely before the season.
Why do you say definitely getting done?
Because I just know. Because I'm sure Joe Burrow will probably grow frustrated at some point, not having his top receiver out there. Burton is good, Higgins is good, but that offense isn't complete unless, he's out there. And for me, I'm kind of upset he hasn't had training camp, because it's different to practice by yourself. And you can train 300 days out the year, and those other 65 when you're in camp, it's completely different. Being pushed around, tugged and pulled, and in a structured environment is different than training on your own. I don't care how much of in shape you are. I would have much rather him being at camp, getting the work in, so it makes it that easy and hit the ground running when the season starts, but it's unfortunate.
So if, in fact, Jamarrchase does sign this week.
He will.
He will?
Yeah.
Do we know how to attribute this to Chad Ochocinco? So I got to say, per Ochocinco said this is going to happen.
No, I mean, just with timing and understanding, Burrow, the quarterback himself will probably be like, okay, enough is enough. Enough is enough. Let's get it done.
Let me take you to a place, the alternative. If for some reason this deal doesn't get done this week or this season.
He's not touching the field.
He's not touching the field.
Not touching the field. This is one of the certain players, they can separate their love for the game and business. If it was me, I'd have been out there practicing. Deal or no deal. I don't care. But on the business side of things, Jamar, his team, they understand now. And this is the only way to get deals done. CeeDee Lamb is doing the same thing. Brandon Ayuk is doing the same thing. You have to let the owners know that you're able to separate the love for the game, the business, like the owners do.
So, again, I've tried to get this answered. Nobody wants to say it. But you in your position, you could say it because you are who you are.
Yes.
If he doesn't have a deal done by week 1, you don't think he's playing?
No, absolutely not. He's not touching the field.
And you don't think he's touching the field till he has a deal, period?
Yeah.
So how long could this play out this year in your mind?
I don't think Mike would do that. And I don't think Joe Burrow would allow Mike to do that. You understand how important Jamarrchase is to the success of the Bengals, especially if we're serious about getting back to the Super Bowl. Super Bowl is in New Orleans. So think about, people out there, think about the Cinderella story of Joe Burrow played for LSU. Jamarrchase played at LSU. Super Bowl is in New Orleans. That's the perfect story.
Couldn't
That's
write it
why
any
we're
better.
going.
Exactly.
I like it.
Have you had any conversations with Jamar? Has he sought any counsel from you, as I would?
No.
Nothing.
Listen, he's doing something I wouldn't even do because, I was embedded in it. Hell, I lived at the stadium the first 2 years.
You lived in the stadium?
You remember that?
I didn't know that you lived in the stadium. Where did you live in the
The
stadium?
first 2 years, the Players Lounge. You didn't know that?
I didn't know that.
Yeah, ask Marvin. Yeah, the first 2 years. I'm cheap as hell. I wasn't buying I wouldn't buy nothing.
If you lived at the stadium, does that mean that you got to play Madden up on the big jumbotron? Did you?
We had the old TV with the big remember the old TVs back in the days?
The big CRT ones? Yeah. That's so good.
We had a pinball machine, ping pong pinball machine. I had a PlayStation, I had an Xbox, I had everything. It's no point in buying a place when everything is at the stadium.
Maybe that's the
The Cincinnati Bengals wide receiver corps has been hailed as the best in the NFL, and it's not just hype. With Jamar Chase and T. Higgins leading the charge, this dynamic duo has made a compelling case as the most dominant receiving tandem in the league. Their chemistry with quarterback Joe Burrow is undeniable, and as the 2024 season approaches, the expectations are sky high. But with greatness comes pressure, and the Bengals will need to navigate the complexities of contracts, performance, and potential to make their Super Bowl dreams a reality. The Bengals WR duo, unmatched talent. Jamar Chase and T. Higgins aren't just a great duo, they're two legitimate number one receivers. Many teams boast a standout wide receiver, but few can claim to have two players of Chase and Higgins' caliber. If Chase were to miss time, Higgins could seamlessly step into the role of a number one receiver without the offense skipping a beat. Conversely, if Higgins were unavailable, Chase could carry the load with equal effectiveness. This flexibility makes the Bengals receiving corps a unique and invaluable asset to their Super Bowl aspirations. Their dominance isn't just theoretical. Last season, both receivers consistently delivered big plays and critical catches, establishing themselves as Joe Burrow's go-to targets. Chase, with his explosive speed and precise route running, and Higgins, with his size and catch radius, create matchup nightmares for opposing defenses. Together, they stretch the field, opening up opportunities for other players on the offense and keeping defenses on their heels. The business of football contracts in the future. However, the success of the Bengals wide receiver corps is not without its challenges. The business side of football looms large over the team, particularly regarding the contracts of Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. Higgins is entering the final year of his contract, and it's widely believed that he will play this season on the franchise tag before seeking a lucrative deal elsewhere. The Bengals simply may not have the financial flexibility to pay both Higgins and Chase what they deserve. Jamar Chase, on the other hand, is expected to secure a massive contract extension soon. While the timing of the deal remains uncertain, it's likely to be completed before the start of the season. Chase's value to the Bengals offense cannot be overstated, and the team knows that securing his future is essential to their long-term success. Joe Burrow, the Bengals star quarterback, will undoubtedly want his top target on the field, and the organization understands the urgency of getting this deal done. But if the Bengals are unable to extend Chase's contract before the season starts, the implications could be severe. Chase may choose to sit out games, leveraging his absence to push for a deal. This scenario would put immense pressure on the Bengals front office and could disrupt the team's rhythm heading into a critical season. The stakes couldn't be higher, as any delay in securing Chase's services could have a ripple effect on the team's Super Bowl ambitions. The road to the Super Bowl, high expectations and pressure. The Bengals are no strangers to high expectations. After making a deep playoff run last season, the team has its sights set on nothing less than a Super Bowl appearance. With Joe Burrow at the helm, supported by a talented receiving corps, and a solid defense, the Bengals have the pieces in place to compete with the best teams in the league. But the road to the Super Bowl is never easy, and the pressure to perform will be immense. For the Bengals, success will hinge on more than just the performance of their wide receivers. The offensive line must protect Burrow, the running game needs to be consistent, and the defense must hold up against elite competition. But make no mistake, the Bengals' chances of hoisting the Lombardi Trophy will largely depend on the continued excellence of Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. As the season progresses, every game will feel like a referendum on the Bengals' Super Bowl potential. The team must stay healthy, avoid distractions, and maintain their focus on the ultimate goal. The spotlight will be on Chase and Higgins to deliver in clutch moments, and their ability to rise to the occasion will determine whether the Bengals can make history. The Super Bowl dream: can the Bengals achieve greatness? In the end, the Bengals season will be defined by their ability to navigate the challenges ahead. The talent is there, the chemistry is undeniable, and the hunger for success is palpable. But with great potential comes great pressure. And the Bengals will need to prove that they can handle the weight of expectations. If the Bengals can keep Jamarrchase on the field and find a way to balance the business side of football with their on-field performance, they have a legitimate shot at winning the Super Bowl. The storylines are already in place: Joe Burrow and Jamarrchase returning to New Orleans, the site of their college triumphs, to claim the ultimate prize in the NFL. It's a narrative that writes itself. But the Bengals will need to execute at the highest level to make it a reality. As the season approaches, the Bengals stand on the brink of greatness. Their wide receivers are among the best in the league. Their quarterback is a rising star. And their Super Bowl window is wide open. Now, it's up to them to seize the moment and turn their potential into a championship. The road ahead will be difficult, but if the Bengals can overcome the obstacles in their path, they could very well be celebrating in New Orleans at the end of the season,